Hello, I'm Kirk Bowers. I'm the Pipelines Campaign Coordinator for the Virginia chapter of the Sierra Club. This morning, we are here today to talk about erosion and sediment control. I'm going to be going over the basics of the Virginia Erosion and Sediment Control Program in relation to the Mountain Valley Watch and the Construction Surveillance Initiative for the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. This is part of training that we put on in order to bring on more observers and monitors of construction as the pipelines are being built, if they are built. And one caveat is that we're still hoping and working hard to stop the pipelines, but in case they're built, we want to make sure that everyone is trained to be able to monitor and inspect construction of the pipelines for violations of Virginia erosion and sediment control laws. So with that, let's talk about erosion. What is erosion? Erosion is the action of surface processes such as water flow that removes soil, rock, or dissolved material from one location on the Earth's crust and then transports it to another location. This natural process is caused by the dynamic activity of erosive agents, primarily including water or wind. And in our case, we are all concerned about water erosion only. Causes and effects of erosion. The major problem associated with erosion on a construction site is the movement of soil off the site and its consequent pollution of receiving rivers, streams, and lakes. On a construction site, the erosion process is accelerated because the soil is left bare and unprotected by vegetation. The amount of erosion on a construction site can be as many as 250 times greater than if you have a site that is not disturbed by grading. There are 5 types of water erosion ranked from least severe to most severe. Starting at the top of the drainage shed, we have the splash and sheet erosion, which can best be prevented by protecting the land surface with vegetation mulch or erosion control blankets. Seeding and grass are the most effective control for erosion in the upper reaches of the watershed. As you go farther downhill, you will see there's a sheet and rill and gully erosion, which are more severe forms of erosion. They can be controlled by keeping the runoff velocities slow and the drainage areas low. And here's a larger view of the types of erosion. Starting at the top, we have raindrop erosion going downhill. You go into sheet erosion as you get a larger drainage area coming down the hill. Then there's rill and gully erosion where you start getting channels cut into the sides of the slopes. And finally stream erosion where the bottom of the streams are eroded out and sediment is carried downstream. Let's talk about factors that influence erosion on a construction site. The potential for a land area to erode is determined by several key factors, including climate, rainfall, soil erodibility, and the length and steepness of the slope. These factors are interrelated in their effect on the potential for erosion. For pipelines, we have a number of steep slopes that make the situation much worse and create greater problems than you would have on gentle slopes for construction areas. Let's talk about the DEQ erosion control regulations. In Virginia, we take erosion control very seriously. There are regulations that control erosion control. In accordance with the Virginia Erosion Sediment Control Law regulations and certification regulations, DEQ administers, that's the Department of Environmental Quality, administers the state erosion and sediment control program to help prevent destruction of property and natural resources caused by soil erosion sedimentation, and non-agricultural runoff from regulated land disturbing areas activities. Erosion caused by excessive runoff is one of the most severe types of erosion in developing areas. It can kill streams. We have many dead streams in the state where sediment has clogged up the streams, killed fish downstream, and aquatic life. Erosion and sediment control regulations. The purpose of the law is the effective control of soil erosion, sediment deposition, and non-agricultural runoff, and that's opposed to agricultural runoff, which is exempted from the E&S regulations. And it's designed to prevent degradation of properties, stream channels, waters, and other natural resources downstream of a construction site. There is teeth in the regulations. The enforcement authority is given to the Department of Environmental Quality, which includes VA Code 62.1-44.23 of the State Water Control Law, which provides for injunctive relief for any violations of the State Water Control Law, any State Water Control Board rule or regulation. And it also provides for a civil penalty of up to $32,500 per day for each violation on each site that is documented. In addition, VA Code 62.1-44.15 authorizes the imposition of a civil penalty for violations of up to $100,000. We take it very seriously. Sediment in streams is a major pollution problem. Some of the basic principles of erosion control include keeping soil in place when possible, reducing the area of clearing. That's the first step to erosion control. If the soil is exposed and must be exposed to stormwater runoff, it must be contained on the site through sediment control measures. One thing that is important to remember, erosion control measures are preventative. Sediment control measures are corrective, meaning that erosion control measures include seeding and keeping the site down to the bare minimum of grading that is needed for construction. Sediment control is keeping the soil on the site so that it cannot get off the site during construction. That includes constructing silt fences, sediment barriers, sediment traps, sediment basins, and diversion dikes, and other assorted erosion control measures. The contractor can control erosion and sedimentation most effectively by leaving vegetation intact as long as possible, avoiding removal of streamside vegetation, leaving wetlands in place, and phasing in land disturbance to minimize the amount of soil exposed at any one time. Secondly, they can protect exposed soil from the erosive force of rain and surface water runoff by putting down grass seed, straw mulch, jute blankets, and mesh. Eroded soil must be captured and retained on the construction site. That is the law. If it gets off the site, it is potentially a trespass charge against the developer. The four basic items for erosion control include design, installation, operation, and maintenance practices. Proper design, installation, operation, inspection, and maintenance are vital to the success of erosion control practices. Choosing the wrong practice, improper installation, improper operation, and lack of maintenance are the cause of most failures. Failures of installed practices can deliver large amounts of polluted water runoff into streams and rivers. On the Mountain Valley Pipeline, we've seen numerous sites where there's been a failure of maintenance and installation of improper devices, and we've seen numerous failures because of those two items. The four basics of erosion sediment control are design, installation, operation, and maintenance of practices, and they have to be maintained properly. So what we have is proper design, installation, operation, inspection, maintenance are vital to the success of erosion and sediment control practices. Choosing the wrong practice, improper installation, improper operation, and lack of maintenance are the cause of most failures. Failures of installed practices can deliver large amounts of polluted water runoff into streams and rivers. On the Mountain Valley Pipeline, we've seen a number of improperly installed erosion control devices which have failed, in addition to a number of areas where there's been significant lack of maintenance, and as a result, there's been sediment running into the streams in Montgomery County, Franklin County primarily. Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, otherwise known as a SWEP. The Stormwater Pollution Plan serves as a guide for the selection, operation, installation, location, and maintenance of practices to control all anticipated erosion and sediment and prevent sediment and other pollutants from leaving the site. It's required for every construction site that is permitted in the Commonwealth. A SWEP is an involving document that includes text, site maps, and forms that are maintained and updated throughout the construction project. Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, or SWEP, is required by the state and for permitting purposes. Part of the SWEP is the Erosion and Sediment Control Plan, the ESC plan. An erosion control plan contains conservation practices for controlling erosion on land-disturbing activities. A land-disturbing activity is a man-made change to the land which may result in soil erosion and the movement of sediments into waters or onto lands. Here's a sample plan sheet from the Mountain Valley Pipeline. This is the erosion sediment control plan sheet. And this is one sheet, and there are hundreds of sheets like this. On the top part of the sheet, as you can see, is the plan view, which shows the alignment of the pipeline, shows the elevations, and it shows the different practices that are to be used for erosion and sediment control prevention. Below the plan view, we have the profile view, which shows the side view of the elevations as it goes up and down the mountains. And then on the bottom, you have a legend and scale. And here's the larger view of the scale itself. As you'll see, there's a number of items shown, including some of the erosion control practices that are on the plan view, such as the proposed silt fence, proposed super silt fence, orange construction safety fence, proposed compost filter socks, and there are different types of filter socks. And the legend provides a graphic view of the erosion control devices that are on the plan sheet.